Keeps on YouTube there. What's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. JT here. Happy New Year. It is our first Chart Talk Live of 2026. Hope everybody is doing well. Had an excellent holiday break and is ready to come in here and tackle 2026. Make it ours to profit on. All right, so let me get over to the live stream chat. What's up, new trader? Happy New Year to you. What's up, Sydney? Happy morning to you, aka Ryan Brown. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm just noticing I don't have a chat window open for YouTube. There we go. Now I can see the YouTube chat. Kinda. I got sun coming in from a weird direction this morning. What's up, Veritas? Good morning to you. Good to see you. Good morning. Happy New Year. What's up, Navy Plum? I knew it wasn't the first live stream of 2026 without having you here in the mix. Hope you're doing well. I definitely don't have I personally took a pretty extended break there at the end of last year just to kind of recharge the batteries and get ready to come back here fresh. So I don't even really remember what our trade plans were on from the last few live streams we did, but we'll take a look. We'll circle back to those. I've got them here. I just wondered how long ago it was. Yeah, these are pretty dated at this point, but always a good idea to circle back and take a look at these again. Sydney with the rapid fire ticker requests already. I like it. Ready to hit the ground running. All right, so let's talk about things here in the markets, and then we will get to some trade plan recaps, and of course, working on some new trade plans together here live. Oh, thank you, Navy Plum. Good call. First one, I'm a little rusty. Took a little bit of a break there. Should be good to go now. Thank you for catching me on that. All right, so let's take a look at things. Let's see kind of how we wrapped up 2025 and how things are looking going into 2026 to kick things off this year. We had a few different downtrends that we were dealing with going into the end of last year, but this was the last one that I saw that looked like a real challenge. At least last time I paid a lot of attention to the ES chart. So we've obviously broken out of that, pushed up towards 7,000 here on ES, so very close to, or that actually was the all-time highs on ES, but very close to 7,000, just shy of is what I was trying to get out of my mouth. Like I said, a little rusty here this morning, but we'll shake the cobwebs off. Definitely looks like we had a downtrend there as well going into the end of the year, but again, I wasn't really doing a whole lot, so I wasn't dropping trend lines or anything like that on my charts with the low volume and kind of end of year tax harvesting and all that stuff. Just a very challenging, awkward, if you will, time to be trading, in my opinion. And so that's all the more reason to take some time off, enjoy the holidays, spend time with family, go touch some grass, all that good stuff. So we've broken out of that downtrend as of yesterday. Nice push there yesterday. Looks like we are developing a nice little uptrend here that we'll probably want to keep an eye on. That's may not be, yeah, it started here. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thought I was being a little aggressive with that origin point. So nice ascending trend here, broke out of the descending trend, pushing over the 200 SMA and VWAP this morning. So things looking fairly bullish going into the open today. Do have some new sell pressure that we've put in place overhead there. Also need to go back and do some new trend-based fib extensions so we can get dialed in on where potential resistances might be. Here's our current all-time highs there at 69.94. And we did have, yeah, pretty solid trend. Goes back to here. This is the last real new low. Well, no, yeah. Ultimately higher, higher, higher. Yep. So trend-based extensions should have us somewhere. Come on, get on there. In this neck of the woods, looking for a potential push up here to 70.2650. There we go. If we can break over that all-time high. So, new set of extensions here. Will set right about there. That should be enough for the foreseeable future. So if we can break over that all-time high, if this uptrend continues to push us higher and higher and gets us over 69.94, be looking for 70.26. You can probably call it 70.25. That's probably a decent psychological level there as well. So it's just some things to keep on watch. Overall, things looking pretty bullish though at the moment. I wouldn't be worried about things looking too bearish, at least not in the near term, till we break below, I'd say 69.09. And again, if you want to make a nice, easy psychological number out of it, as long as we're above 6,900, I think things look fairly bullish, and I would expect dips to be bought. All right, let's get to some trade plan recaps. We did HIMS last year before Christmas. What was the other ones that we had waiting in the wings here? Bull. Bull making a comeback, strong like Bull, finally. Everybody holding a bull bag with me is happy to see it finally getting some legs after far too long holding far too heavy a bag, probably. Let's go back to the, all right, we don't need to get into stuff that's that old. Probably the same thing here on, yeah, okay, cool. So we'll just do these few recaps here, HIMS, Apple, and Bull, and then we will work on some new trade plans here together live this morning. What's up, Buddy O? What's up, Big Cat? What's up, NN? Those who have joined, and what's up, Veritas? Can I chart Intel? Sure, we can take a look at Intel. It's a good one to take a look at. It's been running hot already in 2026. All right, so let's take a look at these trade plan recaps. These are the last ones we did with any kind of relevance to what's currently happening. We had HIMS looking for a breakdown to 31.94. How low did we get here? 32.05. So right there within the reasonable range of PT1 there. This one probably actually got a little bit lower. Right, probably within that 10-cent reasonable range for our target to hit. So 31.94 looks like we caught that, pretty close to it at least. Then we got the push from there to the upside, broke back above the 333 there yesterday, gave it a quick back test, and then a big push going into the close yesterday. Also finally shook off this downtrend that's been in the way for quite a while now. So HIM's looking good and might have a nice start to 2026, especially if it can clear over that 35.96. Then we could look for the upside portion of this trade plan to start playing out with targets up there at 37.25, 38.58, and 40.26 if we do get a nice confirmed break over that call entry there at 35.96. Apple, this is also from last year's last trade plans of the year. Let's hide these levels real quick. So Apple, after doing that trade plan, gave us some attempts to break and push, ultimately held the stop loss average down until it finally did push, took us up to PT1 plus, and has since broken down and pulled back quite a bit now to PT1 and then some on the downside, trying to recover that as support here pre-market, but has some bearish headwinds above really until it clears over 270.02 by the looks of it. So at least that's on the 15-minute chart. Let's zoom out. Yeah, I'd say it's really actually got some big tests coming up there at 271.93 and 273.90 with where those, I think, SMAs are going to line up if it does get a push. But overall, Apple playing out to the downside currently, trying to bounce, trying to flip this momentum back bullish, but so far, full bear mode. Nice NTS rejection there. Uh, Up above 276.54 for this pullback move. All right, and then last but not least, bull. We mentioned that briefly. This one is also breaking out from that downtrend, finally getting some momentum going. Got the 200 crossing back above the 333 there on the 15-minute. Coming up to the 333 here pretty soon. On the hourly, 200 is trying to curl back to the upside, so that's a good sign. I do like this breakout move though, and it does look quite strong. Also looks like we have a pretty solid downtrend, or downtrend, trend below us, but nah, I could be wrong, or if we do have one, we're a little bit overextended from it for now at least. Let's see, let's get zoomed in on this. It's iffy. It's an iffy trend line there, is what I would say about that. All right. Could I help you with the indicators? So we are using the 200 SMA, 333 SMA there. Everything else, for the most part, is a custom indicator that I built that we can feel free to DM me about. We can talk about that offline. I don't want to take a bunch of our live stream time up to discuss NTS, but overall, that's the indicator system that you see on the screen. The 200 and the 333 are part of that. Part of NTS, I mean, but obviously you can also drop those on your chart with really any moving average indicator. And if you want something to kind of emulate or get close to the trend ribbon on NTS, again, it's not going to be quite the same, but it'll be a close enough approximation. You could use the 921 EMA combo, would be my suggestion there. All right, so let's get to some of these new ticker requests that we got. Sydney, we just talked about Apple a little bit. I don't know if that was satisfactory for you or not. NBiz and Tilray, and then we got Intel from Veritas over in YouTube. So let's start with NBiz is one that I haven't ever really tracked. I know I did a trade plan for it back when it had its first like big wild run. Yeah, back in September, but that's really the last time I looked at it, and I didn't look at it all that closely back then, if I'm being perfectly honest. Although, looks like our trade plan played out nicely. PT3 for the downside bottomed us back there on December 17th. Nice PT2 bounce there. I think I want to leave these recent levels on the chart, although I think, yeah, a lot of these are just trend-based fib extensions, I believe. Let's clean this up real quick. I don't even remember how long ago I did that, why I thought any of those levels were significant, so I mean, this trend-based extensions did pretty well, to be honest. Where's that set? Here's one, and where's the other set? See two sets on here. Weird. Okay, well. Can't even see it. Might as well delete it. Isolate this down to just the one set. I didn't finish mapping out either. Didn't quite make it up to that. 0.786. Other extensions look pretty solid though. All right, we'll leave them on the chart for now. Let's see how this looks. We're gonna analyze and adjust these as needed as we go through this plan. All right. Let's zoom out a little bit here. All right, coming up on a pretty decent confluence of resistance right there overhead at 97.86. Gonna have to test and break through NTS key selling pressure and the 200 SMA there as we pull up and try to push through that level. I think we do have a nice little setup for an upside trade plan here, because we've got pretty good entry level there at 97.86 with some confluences giving way to get through that. 94.56 previous rejections against that. We'd want to see that act as support and not be back down below that in the event of an upside trade plan. And then we've got the 333, some clear recent rejections here along this 102.65 level. So I like how that gets us started from a risk reward standpoint on that trade plan. And like I said, we're going to have to go in here and add some levels as we push through this plan, because it's been a while since I looked at NBIS, and honestly, when I did look at it, I think it was a quick glance, at a glance type look, trade plan, etc. Yeah, sure. We'll try to take a look at NKLR. I do think we're going to see nuclear names start to heat up this year in anticipation of the need for nuclear energy if we're going to continue to fuel our AI energy demands and just overall energy demands, bring down energy costs, etc. All right. I like that upside plan, so let's see what we can plan for the downside here. This level might be just a little off. A little bit more, yeah, like right there. Thinking that could be a good downside entry level. Could be. I want to see where that really takes us from a risk reward standpoint. I think this is just a little bit higher. Actually, I think what it is this trend-based fib extension just a little bit lower Yeah, right there. That's decent risk reward, I think. Yeah, I would make a small adjustment to that level. And I would use that as PT3. All right. That gives us a trade plan, regardless of which direction it decides to go. So let's get this locked in. Take us up to 102.65, 107.64, 114.89. That is going to be a shared stop loss average down. Oops. Actually, I need to. So let's pop that on the chart. Clean this up real quick. Yeah, pretty decent risk reward, both sides. Definitely very good on the upside. One getting close to 1.5 to 1. That's sort of like the key Goldilocks. Above that, things start to look better when loss rates start to matter a little less. Also be interested to see if this turns into a trend line at some point. Definitely not confirmed yet, though. All right, so let's get this locked in. Here is your NBiz live stream plan. And let me get this, put it over in the elite chat so we can everyone twice on that. Not necessary. There we go. All right, copy message link. Let's get that plugged in here so we can set our alerts. I'll give this a week to play out. All right, so let's talk through this and then we'll get to our next trade plan. What are we looking for here on NBiz? We're looking for a break over 97.86. That should bring price targets at 102.65, 107.64, and 114.89 with a stop loss average down at 94.56. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 90.89. If we get a confirmed break of that support, we're looking for price targets at 86.78, 82.76, and 78.40 with a stop loss average down shared with that upside trade plan there at 94.56. That is NBiz for you. Let's go get it. All right, let's take a look at Intel real quick. That is a name that I would be interested to look at, especially with some of the moves that it's been making, and especially with the fact that I hold a decent chunk of Intel shares. Not a massive part of my portfolio, but not the smallest holding either. All right, let's see what we got here. Just flipped everything bullish on NTS. 200, given some support down there at 3807. Yeah, I think this could try to make a move. Gives us a pretty decent, well-defined stop loss there. I wonder if that level's just a little high. Let's see. This is the level I'm looking at. Don't want to lose track of it, so let's take a look. Probably gonna have to go back a ways. Here we go. No, I wouldn't move that. We've just come a little bit shy of it on a couple of tests up near that range, but how short was that? High was 42.10. That's within 10 cents. All right, we'll leave that where it is. PT2. All right, PT3. Where's that going to sit? Yeah, right here. At 45.22. Risk reward, just because there's a pretty decent risk area here. Not the greatest, but I like check this real quick. Yeah, right at about a 1-to-1. So not a bad start, and overall the plan allows for higher returns than 1-to-1, but sometimes PT1's all you get. So that's how I like to gauge sort of how good is the setup for is the setup directionally, I should say, based on our risk reward just getting to PT1. So now the question is, where's a good downside setup? Yeah, I think probably right about here. We've got a level I don't have mapped out yet. It's to here. Let me fix these real quick. I'm just feeling this one out so far. I'm not dead set on this being how we're gonna try to play this downside. If it even comes to fruition. Yeah. Where is it? Sorry, sitting here having an internal argument with myself on where this stop loss average down level should be if we're going to use this downside plan. I think it does need to be right in this neck of the woods. It's gonna look a little weird, but I think that's gonna be a decent downside plan. All right, let's finish this up. I do like that as PT2 and PT3. All right, like I said, this is gonna look a little weird. Although, hang on a sec. You know what? I take that back. I'm gonna adjust this stop loss for this side plan. That should give us better risk reward. Also looks like a smarter stop loss. All right. Now I think we're in pretty decent shape. Downside plan looking real iffy though, so I'd probably avoid it because I think downside is going to be limited on this one. All right, let's go. Could see this one on the upside going into effect today. Whoops. There we go. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, just straight at a what? I typed in something. Yeah, I kept doing that. That looks better. All right, cool. Let's get this locked in. All right, here comes your Intel live stream plan. And of course, let's get this over into the elite chat. Just set for this. Ooh, I almost screwed up here. Fortunately, I used a new tab. Tuesday live stream plan 1. Yes, yes. And our start line. Let's get this locked in. Tuesday live stream plan 2. And I forget if I did this, so I'm going to do it again. All right. Warning alert, 1 hour, perfect. All right, so let's talk through this real quick and then we'll get to one more plan before we wrap things up for the day. What are we looking for here on Intel? We're looking for it to break back above 40.06. That should bring price targets at 42.19, 43.79, and 45.22 with a stop loss average down at 38.88. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 37.23. That should bring price targets at 35.97, 34.51, and 33 flat with a stop loss average down at 38.48. Those are your Intel live stream plans. Let's go. All right, one more. What do we got? Let's see. Apple, NU, and new trader was looking for nuclear. All right, let's see. It's NU. New holdings, regional banks, decent volume. $19 price target. Just had earnings some point recently. How old is this? Not that recent. Only back in November. FinTech. And it's at all-time highs. Tricky one here. Oh, you had that in here first thing this morning, new trader. My bad. I thought you were posting back to the old one. All right, first come, first serve. Sorry. Let's take a look at NKLR here. I almost missed that. Well, not a whole lot to work with here on the weekly chart. There is a level there. It's probably close to that. Close to that. But that's going to do it for any really useful levels there on the weekly. All right, I think that's gonna, well, not quite, sorry. First things first, gotta get support and resistance on the chart, or we're just flying without any navigation. No instruments. Let's see. Probably want to see those all in some smaller time frames, so let's get to it. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's check down here. Gonna be lots of tight little levels down in this range. I'd be willing to bet. All right, let's see where that takes us here on the hourly. Let's throw the indicators back on so we can find our confluences. And things looking pretty good, pushing back to the upside here on NKLR. This looks like a pretty clear resistance. Rejected that pretty hard last time. The question really becomes, does that open up a good enough window of opportunity for us to really capitalize? And if it does, how does that compare to our area of risk? So just a teeny bit higher right there. And be looking right in this neck of the woods for potential PT3. Take a shot at it. That's a big stretch, but I definitely think this would be a good one to take with shares versus options, but that's just my 2 cents. All right. Where does downside start to get interesting? Lots of big rejections around this area. Support's been holding a little lower. All right, I think we could take a shot at this. Yeah, playing out just like this, actually. Yeah, that looks not too shabby. All right, let's get this dialed in. Two and 8. No. Yep. Need that too. There we go. Get in. Yeah. Here comes your NKLR live stream plan. And last but not least, let's get this over in the elite chat. All right, so let's talk through this one last time, and then we're going to call it our first live stream of 2026. What are we looking for here on NKLR? We're looking for a break over 643. That should bring targets at 699, 752, and 845, with a stop loss average down at 594. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 552 That should bring targets at $5 even, 451 and 397 with a shared stop loss average down with the upside trade plan there at 594. All right, folks, we are about 14 minutes out from market open, so I need to go get to work on the daily SPY plan. So we'll have that ready to go and execute for today's trading session. So I want to thank everybody for joining me this morning. I do appreciate y'all taking some time to join me as we prep for our trading day and the week to come. Come back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp. We will be back for our next Chart Talk Live, brought to you by Xtrades then. Until then, I will see you all in the chats, and as we always say here on Chart Talk Live, plan your trades, trade your plans. Remember, we're looking for profits, not perfection, so keep those wins big, keep the losses small, go out there and get some green, build those accounts. Let's kick 2026 off on the right foot. I will see you guys back here Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. and in the chats in the meantime. Until then, take care. Have a fantastic day.